football. Wonderful, wonderful.
Rounds on the Ennis Road here in Limerick is the venue for this evening's All-Ireland football semi-final replay. The throw-in is at 5 o'clock and there will be extra time if necessary. Well, the traffic may have been heavy, but the teams have arrived in good time, and Lee Keegan included in that Mayo team after getting his reprieve during the week. And that, of course, allows him to start this evening's match. Hello and welcome to this unusual venue for today's big football championship encounter. Well, I suppose it may not have been the preferred choice of the rival teams, but there has been a great buzz around this part of Limerick for the past few hours as the fans look forward to this replay showdown. Alan Mulholland, Joe Brawley and Colin O'Rourke are here with us in studio this evening, and I think the first thing we should talk about and discuss, Colin, is the GA's decision to clear Mayo's Lee Keegan to play in this afternoon's match. Right decision, wrong decision for you?
Well, maybe the right decision for the wrong reasons, but at the time I didn't feel Lee Keegan should have been sent off at all, and it appears now that the appeal was carried on the basis that the wording of the referee's report was that he was put off for kicking rather than attempting to kick. And I wonder at the time if he would have been sent off at all, and for Donnacha Walsh making such a fuss over the thing. And
which was disappointing.
I think that it's probably right that he should be playing, but it does undermine the referee and the disciplinary system when a player is allowed to play. It happened with Diarmuid Connolly in 2011 when he was sent off. I think it's better that both players, Connolly then and Keegan now, are playing, but I think that it's a murky area.
It is. There's just a graphic of the rule that applied here in this case. Now, interestingly, the penalty for kicking is the same as the penalty for attempting to kick. So
yeah, well, if we can believe half of what we hear, that this was the bit that the referee left out, attempting to kick and putting kicking. I don't know, but it's not. I don't think the GAA covered themselves in glory on this one.
Anyway, Joe Brawley, he is playing.
Yeah.
One of the, well, I suppose it's not really a change on the Mayo team, but there are changes in the Mayo team. Two more ones have come in.
Yeah. But I think the more significant change is that Kieran Donaghy has gone to the edge of the square for Kerry, which is a
Mark O'Shea is also out of that Kerry team.
Well, I think that's overshadowed by Donaghy going in there. It's a declaration of war. I'm not surprised at all. He's champing at the bit. Mayo don't. Ger Cafferty is the most polite fullback I've seen. I mean, the way he pawed the air politely for Kerry's goal the last day. And I think that there are a few issues. One, Mayo have got a keeper who, it's like the Clash song, should I stay or should I go now? If I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, there will be double. Last year he went. Bernard Brogan flicked it into the net. The last day he didn't go. You've got an indecisive keeper and a fullback who doesn't bring menace with him and isn't authoritative. That's a lethal combination, and Kerry know that there are goals to be had.
Sure.
They could have had 3 other goals the last day. And also I think that there's a big issue which has been there over the last few years, which is James, who sets the team up well to start with, doesn't react during the game. I mean, Donaghy was warming up for 3 or 4 minutes. Barry Moran was there. Aidan O'Shea was in the middle of the park. Mayo were 5 points up. He knew that Donaghy was coming on to try and rescue the game, and that meant launching a high ball, and yet he didn't take any action, knowing that Cafferty's not fit for Donaghy.
But Alan Mulholland not making excuses now here for the Mayo defence or for the goalkeeper, but Kieran Donaghy is one big boy. It's not easy to take that ball off him.
He is, and I'm not sure that it's the obvious decision to put him in from the start, because Kerry have been playing with 2 men inside all year, been playing quick ball up to them. James O'Donoghue's turned out to be possibly one of the best forwards in the country this year so far, and now they're going to change it all by putting Donaghy there. Do they put him in full forward? I'm not sure that they're going to put him there straight away. I think they'll put him around the middle for a while.
I disagree.
Why change what you're doing all year long? And I think that's a recipe for disaster. If you all of a sudden change, put him in there, let's kick the ball in all day, lads. That's not the Kerry style. And I don't think they'll do that.
Hold on, they won 2 All-Irelands doing that with Kieran Donaghy on the edge of the square, and they have long memories in the kingdom. Mayo are vulnerable at full-back. So, I mean, what any general does, he says, well, look, where are their weaknesses? Their weaknesses in the full-back line, particularly at number 3. Attack number 3. That's what they're going. I think it's perfectly logical.
I think, though, of greater significance that it possibly could be bringing down the career of Mark O'Shea, one of the greatest footballers I have ever seen, the greatest footballing family that I have seen. And to see a Kerry team going out without Darragh O'Shea, Tomás O'Shea or Mark O'Shea, it has to be a lot weaker Kerry team.
Well, one thing we do know that the two managers, I'm sure, hardly thought that they would be plotting against each other for a second time in this year's championship, but of course that's the situation Eamon Fitzmaurice and James Horan have found themselves in this week. Well, they've been giving their thoughts to Damien O'Mara ahead of this evening's game.
Do you expect Mayo to change how they approach the game?
I don't think so. I think that maybe the way they went after it in the second half, they'll probably start that way today. But they're two very even teams, and whichever team performs better today will be the winner in the end.
You surprised to be doing battle against Lee Keegan?
Not overly surprised. No, when the appeal process was kicked in, I knew that they obviously felt they had a case if they were going ahead with the hearing during the week. So not overly surprised. No.
How big a prize is at stake for this squad of players today?
It's massive. It's where every player wants to be in an All-Ireland final 3 weeks tomorrow, so it's a huge prize, no doubt about it.
James, the nature of the second half last week and the momentum that you finished with, does that make you favourites ahead of today's game?
Oh, I'm not sure. We certainly take a lot of confidence from it, the way we played. We took off the shackles a little bit and played, I suppose, the game that we feel we can play, so we're looking to extend the amount of time that we play that game today.
So much was made of the possible issue around conditioning ahead of this weekend, but the lads look fit and well outside. Is it a concern for you?
No, not at all. Look, we prepare well, and any of the top teams don't prepare very well for games, and conditioning won't be an issue today for either team.
How big a boost is it to have Lee back?
That's great. He's a great player and a real leader for us, so it's great to have him.
Goalkeeper Brian Kelly is the undisputed number one in the Kingdom of Kerry. Had no chance to save Cillian O'Connor's penalty 6 days ago, but will want to vary his kick-out strategy a little. Mark O'Shea is out, Killian Young is in, Aidan O'Mahony and Shane Enright complete the full back line. Paul Murphy from Rathmore may never have played minor for Kerry, but he's developed into a really good wing back. Peter Crowley retains the number 6 jersey, Fionn Fitzgerald is the team captain. Anthony Marr and David Moran are again at centre field, with Brian Sheehan held in reserve. It's a crucial area for both counties. Dingle's Michael Gainey is at right half forward, with Johnny Buckley wearing 11. The hard-working Donncha Walsh is on the other wing. The big news up front: Kieran Donaghy starts instead of Stephen O'Brien. Paul Gainey retains the full forward jersey, with Croke Park goal-scoring hero James O'Donoghue in the other corner. Goalkeeper Robbie Henley is a top-class goalkeeper and couldn't in any way be faulted for Kerry's late goal last Sunday. Tom Caniff is named a corner back, which is probably his best position. Full-back Ger Cafferty could be in for a testing evening. Keith Higgins is simply a brilliant footballer. Lee Keegan's appeal to a straight red card last Sunday was surprisingly successful, so he's back on the team. Colin Boyle will wear 6. Donald Vaughan is transferred from centre field to wing back. Castlebar Mitchell's Barry Moran is back in favour and has chosen as Seamus O'Shea's midfield partner. Interesting. Kevin McLaughlin continues a wing forward. Aidan O'Shea will be at centre forward, while Jason Doherty's performance and mental attitude suggest massive potential. Ballintubber's Cillian O'Connor is the main man and top scorer with 331. Other news: captain Andy Moran is back on the starting 15 with Alan Dillon in the other corner. Match referee is Cormac Riley. We look forward to the throw-in in about 5 minutes' time.
Because of traffic problems, it could actually start early. Anyway, it's going to start soon. Who's going to win?
In a word, I think Mayo. I think they'll have lost a bit of the fear factor that they had possibly going into the game against Kerry last week, and I think they'll take a lot from that game and they'll push on today.
All right. Mayo for you.
Well, Mayo were heavily dependent on their middle third, but the big problem with backing them is they lack ruthlessness. You saw that the last day. Routine ball in, not able to deal with it, simply not ruthless. Big problems at fullback and with their keeper, and that's what sowed the seeds of their downfall in the 2012 final and again in the 2013 final. 2 needless goals last year, and again against Kerry. I mean, all they had to do was defend a goal. Everyone knew Kerry were going to have to launch a high ball. So I think that they're terrified of O'Donoghue. Twice the last day they dropped balls behind them, and I think that Kerry are in a very, very strong position here. I'm not saying that, I mean, it's difficult to pick either way. I mean, you'd have to, in the end, tip Mayo, but I wouldn't be in the slightest bit surprised that O'Donoghue would score a couple of goals, in which case it'll be Kerry.
All right.
So who are you tipping?
Is
that Kerry or Mayo? Is that Kerry or Mayo?
His experience allows him to keep his options open until after the match and then say, I told you so.
Exactly. As I said earlier.
That's the ultimate in an each-way bet in a 2-horse race. But I think it's going to be
You're getting some advertising out of this, Mahal.
A completely different game than last week. I think people looking at home would realise how much smaller this pitch is to Croke Park, so the game is going to be much tighter. Mayo are a second half team. I think they need to start opening up a bit earlier, and if I was James Horton, I'd be putting Tom Caniff to mark James O'Donoghue and even Keith Higgins as the sweeper. I think it would work much better. But I think that because of the tightness of the pitch, Mayo might dominate the middle third, and I expect them to win.
The pitch is tight. There's also a breeze, by the way, Colin.
Very strong breeze.
Very strong breeze.
Will that have an impact on the game?
It certainly will. There's no doubt about it. It's a very strong breeze playing into the area where we are sitting in, and I would think whoever's playing with that wind would be looking to win maybe 5 or 6 points up.
Looks like Mayo pulling
at half time, that is.
All right, well, this famous ground has seen many memorable matches.
We're on the journey yet again. Breaking ball off Johnny Buckley. Here comes Donald Vaughan inside the Kerry 45-metre line. Backfires Barry Moran, sending it to Andy Moran, no relation, trying to get inside the cover. First free of the evening is for the Mayo captain, Andy Moran.
And I was nearly going to say, Marty, I think it's a mistake.
21 points, including 3 penalties, 2 scored in New York and 1, of course, crucial one last Sunday in Croke Park. Taps it over the bar. Mayo are up and running in the Gaelic grounds in Limerick.
And just touching on one of the points there, I think Colin was making in the studio about the pitch and the dynamic of the game. What you will see here, Marty, is being able to get the ball into the full forward line much quicker than you can in Croke Park. One kick will put it in there. In Croke Park, that doesn't happen.
Barry Moore diving in the ball there, gathering cleanly and obviously legally. Kevin McLaughlin, 3 Kerry players around him. Cormac Riley, match official from County Meath, blows the whistle, gives a free.
Yeah, there was not much of that there, Marty. It was just Kevin McLaughlin pushing away the player, not too dissimilar to Lee Keegan, except with the hand this week.
Short ball for as Jason Doherty. Comes for as Lee Keegan. Ball inside to Cillian O'Connor and Jason Doherty. Johnny Buckley backtracking. Aidan O'Mahony vacuuming up. Cillian Young has to go back for as Paul Murphy. Donegal. Good pressure by Mayo. David Moore had an outstanding first half in Croke Park. Michael Gainey is under severe pressure here. The referee gives the man in possession the benefit of the doubt. There's pushing unnecessarily by Colin Boyle, but it is a free for Kerry.
Yeah, and the game very tight even at the beginning, because when Kerry looked up to deliver that ball long, there was nobody there. You had O'Donoghue and Kieran Donny on the edge of the square and 60-70 yards, and that's why they played short. But playing short from this ground is going to mean it's going to be exceptionally physical.
More descent possibly means more gaining of ground. Referee says no. David Moran was the player that was looking for it. Maurice Deegan is the linesman, as you can see at the far side, right beside David there. Bit of running repairs for the Kieran O'Reilly's man. Aidan O'Mahony. Peter Crowley. Full-back, centre-back, combining. Sending in a low shot. And the goalkeeper, Robbie Hennelly, had to be alert. Keith Higgins. It was a bit adventurous from that distance, but the goalkeeper passed the test. Seamus O'Shea. Stopped by Johnny Buckley, some might say unfairly. Here comes the man himself, Kieran Donaghy, and it's a free for Kerry.
And while Kieran Donaghy is out there, there's now only one player on the full forward line. That's James O'Donoghue with 2 men marking him, and he's running, he's really ducking and diving, looking for that quick ball, but there's no target there for the free taker.
David Moran goes short. Fires Anthony Marr. Back fires Moran again. Wonderful atmosphere, I have to say, here at the Gaelic grounds. Moran touches the ball on the ground. Referee spotted it as well. Free for Mayo.
Both sets of players running into tackles with the ball at the minute. Just they don't have targets when they look up to deliver.
Kevin McLaughlin, Andy Moran making a great run. Goes the opposite direction over towards Cillian O'Connor. It's being double marked at the moment. Loses possession. Down goes bravely Paul Murphy. Quick feed fires David Moran. On fires Cillian Young, and here comes the kingdom. It's Paul Gainey. Making a run, James O'Donoghue. Still Paul Gainey. Still Paul Gainey takes a shot, and it just goes to the wrong side of the post. And let's be honest, considering his approach work, he did the hard bit. He is going to have a word with possibly Shane Enright and Cillian O'Connor.
And Donaghy wandering now between midfield and full forward line, and the Mayo full back line and the Mayo full on the Kerry full forward line, more or less lining out as they are on the programmes, and the man marking again Keith Higgins with that job at number 15. And Keith Higgins' job was probably even a bit more difficult today, Marty, because Donaghy is in there, and O'Donoghue doesn't have to be the main target for the primary possession. He will take watching.
So Cillian O'Connor and Shane Enright, as you just saw, are now both on yellow as a result of this little interaction. Kick out from Bobby Hennelly. Barry Moran's height obviously a factor in James Horan's decision to play him in the middle of the field with Seamus O'Shea. Here's Donncha Walsh. The work rate can never be questioned. David Moran is available if Anthony Marr needs him. Long ball against the wind, remember. Kieran Donaghy underneath it, knocks it down to Paul Gainey. Just a little touch, and Gainey was home and dry surely for a goal. Kevin McLaughlin. Johnny Buckley is doing great backtracking. Still McLaughlin. Ball is aimed for Andy Moran. There's two Kerry lads there. One is the team captain from Dr. Crokes in Killarney. Fionn Fitzgerald ends up with Michael Gainey. Donncha Walsh to Gainey. Two Kerry men up front. Here's one of them, James O'Donoghue. Keith Higgins with him. Good challenge by Higgins. O'Donoghue recovers. Great tackling by Higgins, getting the hand in. Back out far is Kieran Donaghy. O'Donoghue, Johnny Buckley coming through the middle. Two Kerry players available to his right. Goes back first, James O'Donoghue. He's going to hit it with his left, and it's left and wide, as it turns out. For Kerry's second wide in our replay.
And at the moment, Marty, you'd have to say that both defences are on top. It's very tight when the ball goes in there for either forward line.
Robbie Hennelly. Aidan O'Shea got a touch. Here comes Peter Crowley. Donald Vaughan and Aidan O'Shea coming through the middle. David Moore. Seamus O'Shea. He's opposite marker. Still Moore. Needs somebody outside, but the referee's whistle is blown. Although he won a lot of 50-50 balls with Ger Cafferty, and in the replay he's just scored his first point as well. Sides level for the first time here in the Gaelic rounds.
And so far you'd have to say out around the middle of the park where there is a deluge of players that Mayo or Kerry coming up with most of the possession at the minute and getting forward quite well, quite fast as well. They've two options: move it fast forward.
Robbie Hennelly's kick out blocked by Paul Gainey, and Hennelly did well to recover. Keith Higgins, nerve-wracking moment for a moment.
I was waiting for a disaster there, Marty.
So was I. Aidan O'Mahony, Donncha Walsh, Jason Doherty putting the hand in, trying to dislodge the ball, and indeed there's a perfect example of it. It's Lee Keegan. Down first, Cillian O'Connor. Shane Enright seemed to be straight off the ground, but Enright got the benefit of the doubt. Cillian O'Connor still battling hard. Michael Gainey needs a little bit of support. It's available with Jason Doherty, and it's a free for Mayo.
Cillian O'Connor just a little bit nonchalantly going for that ball there, but it was picked up by Shane Enright.
It's Paul Murphy. David Moore. Anthony Marr. Two boys had a wonderful first half. Marr's pass is poor. Fionn Fitzgerald is there. Killian Young. Peter Crowley is in front of us in the stand here, but he's being well marked at the moment by Kevin McLaughlin. Good run by Killian Young. Here's Peter Crowley. He cleverly fisted to himself almost. His challenge on Crowley resulted in a free, which was quickly taken. The referee said there was a head injury there to Peter Crowley, so he's blown his whistle.